Goodness gracious. I am apparently not doing so hot today. Well, it is super hot. There we go. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have looked a little bit quicker on the uptake. Once that ad break ends, I'm just going to start from scratch. Yeah. So, yes, there we go. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. So, today we are under another heat advisory. It is much hotter than it was on Monday. And so we're going to do a short stream. I just don't think I can stay hydrated enough to just be out here for long periods of time. So we're going to attempt to get as much of the rest of the components done as we possibly can. So we are continuing to work on our burger brand. I was very tempted to cancel the stream today, but I do need to get a few things done so that we can finish this by Friday's stream. So we're going to finish the components today, and we're going to weld it all together on Friday. So the last things that we need to do are we need to turn this into a circle to hold all of our lettering together. The next thing that we need to do is start working on the handle. That's kind of what I was talking about a little bit before. I have 2 pieces of 3-inch, 5/8-inch square stock, and we are going to kind of flatten those out into a triangular shape for the sides of that handle. Then we're going to take a piece of round stock that we've been using for rivets and for our chain links, and we are going to thread it through drilled holes in those sides, and we are going to thread it through the wooden handle that we made for our trowel. That way you've got the wood here so that when you heat up the design to brand it into the burger, you're not going to burn your hand. It's going to make it a lot more comfy to use. All right. I also kind of want to cut in some plate stars. I was talking about making stars, but I think I don't have enough material here to do the circle and some stars. So we'll probably cut them out of some sheet. This is like a nice 1/4-inch piece of plate. We're probably going to cut them out of that. We might not get to that today. We might end up doing this on Friday. So we're going to do as much of it as we possibly can today. And what we can't do today, we'll see about doing on Friday. The butler is also here on Friday to help me out. So hopefully we can figure out a way to make it a little bit cooler together. All right. I don't have my apron or my headphones, so let's do that first. Hey, Corwin. It is super duper hot today. Super duper hot. And we're going to make it even hotter by using the big forge for our circle. So I think what we need to do the circle first, unfortunately. So once we get the circle done with this guy, we're going to shut down the big forge, turn on the mailbox, and we'll start using making the sides. So I have not changed the regulators yet, so I've got to do that real fast. Sorry, today was a little bit hectic because I did some filming yesterday in the jewelry shop. That is where I did. So I posted 2 videos today. I don't know if you guys were able to see those or not. The first one is our edited interview, and so that is there. And then there is a news roundup. And so yesterday I took all the equipment downstairs to film that. So taking it back up here, I lost a couple of things and I had to go and find them and stuff. So I'm a little bit behind today, unfortunately. So yeah, I was super excited to do our first news roundup. I hope you guys like it. I am going to be looking for new news to add to it as we go. And I'd like it to kind of be a community space for everyone to kind of post their own events. So I can only post or talk about so many events in my videos because I only have so much time. So I would love it if people would kind of feel free to post in the comments about their group's activities. And so I just kind of want it to be like a resource for the blacksmithing community. And right now it is monthly, but I would like to in the future make it weekly, but I gotta kind of figure out my process. It took me about 3 hours to do that yesterday, and that's actually a pretty long amount of time. When you look at some of the other things that I end up doing. Was there a bot in here? I'll bet there was a bot. So now that I've got the regulator, let's see about starting up the forge. Yeah, it's gone. Thank you. Okay. Let's do this. Goodness gracious. We are being a little bit stubborn today. It's because I got a good fan going. The fan's actually pretty, it's up there pretty high. So I got a lot of airflow moving and it is not liking, the forge is not liking that. Dang it. Let's move the direction of the fan a little bit. Hopefully it will help. I'll have to move it back once the forge is going because, you know, I need to stay cool. Like I said, it's super duper hot today. Come on. Goodness gracious. Dang it. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Oh, today is a day, guys. I'm so sorry. Today is definitely a day. Can I get it started this time? Maybe, maybe not. Too hot for the forge. Exactly. I don't know. I don't know. It's definitely too hot for me. Oh. All right. Put the steel in the forge. That way it can heat up a little bit. And I'm going to move the fan back to where it was. That way it's blowing on the laptop and blowing on me. So, yeah, it's totally been a day. It's totally been a day. There was a point at which I thought about canceling stream today, just because it was super duper hot, and then I also felt a little bit off. Like I have a roily stomach, you know? It's not like I can't breathe or anything, although yesterday I couldn't. And I'm not sure what. I think it has something to do with the fire that's happening on the West Coast. So yeah, there is a fire going on the West Coast, and I saw that Black Bear Forge is being evacuated. So that's not cool. Hopefully, the fire precautions that he said that he did will save his shop and property. But yeah, there is a big old fire going on out on the West Coast. So hopefully the firefighters can get that out soon. But we're in a drought, so it's gonna happen, unfortunately. Alrighty. So yes. Once we get that heated up, we will start curling it into a circle that will go around our letters. And that's going to be the big circle that is the outside edge. We've got just short of the diameter of a 4-inch grinder disc, so it's going to be probably a little bit smaller than that, but that's all right because a 4-inch diameter circle is really big for a hamburger patty or a hamburger bun. So if we make it just a hair smaller than that, it should fit pretty well. But yeah. Goodness gracious. It has been like 15 minutes and I'm like sweating through my clothes already. This is why I don't wear white t-shirts out in the shop, you know. I think that would bring us quite an audience, but maybe the wrong audience, you know? All right. So like I said, what we're going to do with these guys is we're going to create some sides for our handle. We're going to flatten it out and kind of make it more of a triangular shape. And I would like to, they're probably going to be a little bit longer than I want them to be, but I think it'll be all right. So yeah, we're going to widen out the bottom and just flatten out the top. We're going to drill holes and thread our handle through. On Friday, we'll weld everything up, weld it all together, and then, yeah. Whatever else we haven't been able to finish, we'll also do that too. So I don't think it's going to take us that long to weld it all up. But I don't have any stars yet either, and like I said, I think we're going to cut those out of that 1/4-inch sheet that I've got over there. So if I'm still feeling it by the end of this stream, I might do a star or two. All right. So, how are you guys? Are you guys also suffering in the heat? Or are you guys sitting in the air conditioner? What are we making? Tally Ho 2016, welcome to the stream. So today we are making a hamburger brand. So we have the letters USA and 250 because it is the 250th anniversary of the United States being a country. On Saturday, it will be the 4th of July, and that will be the 250th birthday of the United States. So what we're doing is we are going to make a circle to kind of be a border for our design. and we're going to put a handle on it. So then we can heat up all of the letters and the design and burn it into a piece of meat or into a hamburger bun. So we can have our design to celebrate the 4th of July when we go and grill for, the 4th. Definitely AC time. AC at work, but it's muggy outside. Yeah, that's why it is so awful today as opposed to Monday. Monday it was pretty darn hot, but today it's like so humid. It's worse than Monday. It is 96 degrees Fahrenheit here, and then the humidity is supposed to make it feel like 104 Fahrenheit. And then, of course, we've got the forge going, so that's even making it even higher. So I know I bring it on myself, but on the edge of the heat bubble here, so we're getting rain every morning. That's awesome. Yeah, I hear that there's only like 5 states here in the United States that are not under a drought. We have not had nearly as much rain as was predicted or expected this year. So we are getting, unfortunately, forest fires out west, and we are having a lot of issues with sandstorms and things like that. So I'm hoping for some rain. I'm gonna do my rain dance here this weekend, I think. All right, so we've got a little bit of heat. I think we can start bending this into our circle. It's gonna take us a couple heats to get a full circle. What state am I in? I am on the Illinois side of St. Louis. So I'm kind of in the Midwest area, or I guess they call it the Midwest. It's kind of like more the middle of the country, though. All right, so I want this circle to be relatively round. We've got a really flat spot right there. We're going to take care of that. We also have this other half that we need to take care of. So we're going to put this back in the forge and heat it back up. I'm in Alberta, Canada. I'll try to send you some of my rain. Ooh, I would love that rain. Like I said, it is super hot today and it's super dry. I feel like it had been raining every week for quite a while there, but now we're into that really warm weather. Oh, is it Canada Day? Happy Canada Day, if that's what day it is. I know that you guys have an earlier Independence Day in the year, I think. It is Canada Day. Well, happy Canada Day. Yeah, so it is July 1st today, I guess. And so Canada Day is probably a lot better, but because it's a whole country's independence, right? But also today, Forge in Fire is starting up again. They are starting to air the 11th season. So if you'd like to, check out some bladesmiths duking it out to get some cash, the new season is starting today at, I think it's 6 Eastern. And then tomorrow you'll be able to stream it on the historychannel.com. I love that show. Yeah. So there was one more season that had already been filmed. So I don't know what's going to happen after this season. They might start filming another season, or they might just leave it at that and rebroadcast and syndicate them. But yeah, we've got new episodes. They will be airing on Wednesdays for as long as we've got episodes. I'm not sure if they've got 12 or 24 this season. And I've got 2 interviews from people who have been on Fortune Fire. This week's interview is Charles. Can't remember his last name. But that is posted up on my YouTube. He was one of the contestants on the show, and he talked about all of his knives and making them, and a couple of tips, and kind of just talked a little bit with me. And then next week on Wednesday, I have an interview with Ben Abbott, who is the host of Forged in Fire. So we talked a little bit about Forged in Fire, how he got involved, and his personal journey in blacksmithing. And I am super excited to bring that to you guys. I met Charles in Missouri, and I met Ben in Tennessee. So check that out if you're interested. All right, let's pull another heat. Woo! Yeah. Missing my steel, guys. I'm missing my steel. Drop forge. I was trying to curl this end here, but I think I made a little bit too much of a curl, so we'll have to undo that a little bit as we go. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to flip this around and heat up this section right here. That way I can kind of take a look at the whole circle. That's why we got the big forge instead of the little one, because this guy would not fit in the little forge at this point. Very cool. I missed where you said to check that out. That is on my YouTube page under the same name. So it's Ray's Smithy over on YouTube if you want to search for it. It also has all of my previous VODs from our stream and some edited content. Hey, Dr. Optimal, welcome to the stream. I know that you haven't even spoken yet, but I see that you've got a watch streak there. So thank you so much for that 5-stream streak. Thank you so much for that support. So yeah, let's see. What else is going on? Thank you. How's the heat treating me? Rather poorly, to be quite honest. I have the industrial fan going as high as it can, and it was blowing out the forge as I was trying to light it today, and I left a couple of my pieces of equipment in the house when I was bringing stuff back, so I'm not doing great today, but you know what? Now that I'm actually starting to work, it's so much better. I'm better again. Hope you're staying cool. I don't know about that. I was staying cool until about, 30 minutes ago. Maybe 45 minutes ago, because I was coming in and out of the shop to grab out the stuff. So, but that's all right. I am a blacksmith. I'm built for this. I ask for this. I saw a Facebook post earlier today, and it was talking about the people who like 100 degrees Fahrenheit better than 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Get outside, it's your time to shine. And I always say that I like 100 degrees Fahrenheit better than 30 degrees. So, you know, here I am. All right, let's do another heat. Okay, we are continuing to curve our piece. Over the horn of the anvil. So now we've got a nice oval. So now we kind of got to shape it a little bit. So it's an oval. I want to turn it into a circle. So that means that we need to round out this flat back here and kind of keep on keeping on with it. It's going to take me a few heats to get it all nice and rounded out, but we'll get there. Part-time, I would be only work in the winter. I used to be better with heat as a kid. I would be out in this, but AC has spoiled me as I've aged. I mean, it's completely understandable, you know? I'm a small person though, so I have a lot of issues where I just cannot keep warm at all. So, you know, I don't like being cold. But you know, both of the extremes, the extreme cold and the extreme heat, are rather unpleasant. You know, a nice 72 to 77 degrees, that's a-okay with me. So, once we get this circle all nice and taken care of, we are going to start, we're going to switch forges. We're going to go from the big one to the small one, and we're going to create those side pieces out of these pieces of 5/8 inch square stock. Hopefully we can get these done before I get too exhausted. So we've got an ad starting in about 30 seconds. Once that ad is over, I'll do my next heat, rounding out the circle. And from there, we'll keep on keeping on. I would take extreme cold over extreme heat, though. You can always put on more layers. That's what people always tell me, but you get to a point where you have on so many layers that you're just kind of like waddling around, you know? That's how I end up. Is like, even winter coats and like snow pants and stuff, I still get cold. So I don't know. I still get cold. I think we've got plenty of heat, so hopefully it'll be a lot easier for me to get the shape that I'm looking for once the ad break is over. We don't have a full circle of heat, but we've got most of the ring heated. Whew. Look at this. We're at our first ad break, and I'm like almost halfway, or I'm over halfway done with my Gatorade. Hey, Bluesy, welcome to the stream. We started with Gatorade today because I need as many electrolytes as I can get right now. Alrighty, let's do our next heat. Oh wait, I'm gonna change the angle of the camera first, and the reason for that is because I'm gonna be using the full anvil. Alright, let's do this. Although where I live, it isn't uncommon for negative 40-degree weather in the winter. Ugh. I don't know about that. Negative 40 degrees. Is that Fahrenheit or Celsius? I feel like it would be a little bit better if it was Fahrenheit than if it was Celsius, you know? All right, we're getting there. We're starting to get a nice circle. I need to bend this section right here a little bit more to meet this side, but I also need to unbend that side just a hair. We're getting a pretty smooth circle. Got a little bit more left to do. Like I said, this is a little bit on the flat side. This is a little extra curved. Negative 40 degrees Celsius is negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, aka too effing cold. That is so far down that it doesn't matter. Yes, that is definitely way too cold. They even out. That is crazy. Ugh. Like I said, that's just too cold. But then I think that 0 degrees is too cold. Hey, Blue Red Metal, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello. We're getting there on this ring. Getting pretty darn close. Hopefully in this next heat or two, we'll be able to finish the ring, so that way we can kind of move on to the sides a little bit. I'm doing a lot more delicate forging and a lot less in the way of like full-on heavy hammer blows, you know. I'd like to do a little bit of heavier forging today. 0 degrees Fahrenheit is too cold. 0 Celsius is just nippy, huh? No, I am not a fan of 0 degrees Celsius either. 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius, not a fan. Not a fan at all. The coolest I've ever had where I am is negative 74 Celsius, negative 101. Oh, would you be? I would be stuck indoors. There is no. I would not even look outside at that temperature. I would not even peek out the window at that temperature. No way. I'm a little wussy when it comes to cold. All right, we're getting there. We is getting there. What you guys think? Looks pretty circular to me. Not perfect, mind you. But I mean, what really is? By hand, you know? Not too bad. I think it's relatively even. I'm gonna take a look at that. All right. I'm gonna do one more heat on this. And when I do that, I'm probably going to grab the cone mandrel and we're gonna see if we can't smooth out a couple areas. There's like a little bit here and there I need to try and fix up. Circle adjacent. I'd crank up a big 3-burner forge if it was that cold, right? There it is. I was like, where's my cone mandrel? I got this lovely tool here, cone mandrel. It's gonna help us get a little bit smoother of a finish on that. I've been outside in a heavy fabric coat that froze stiff. I'm glad it was well insulated and I had insulated pants and shoes and headgear. My breath froze on my mustache, so I had an ice mustache. Ugh. But I do love where you guys are going, you know, cold thoughts. Keep me in the cold thoughts. Hey Yankee, welcome to the stream. How are you today? Are you staying cool enough? I hope you're not playing in the garden. 20 and counting stream streak. Goodness gracious, thank you so much for that continued support, Blue Red. Yeah, I already quit early. Yeah, like I said, like in the title, it's gonna be a short stream today. It is super duper hot. I've been out here for like just under like around an hour now, I guess, and I am like sweating through my clothes. Now I'm just part of the farm the young'uns work on. I'm just doing weird things here, cycle a lot. Odd stuff. Odd jobs. Those will keep you busy though, Bluesy. Tomorrow's 100-ish. Yeah, so today we are at the high of 94, and with the humidity, we are at 104. It feels like. And yeah. But yeah, odd jobs, they're always going to keep you busy because there's always something breaking down on a farm. There's always some problem to solve. There's always some animal to find. It's got to be how it works, you know? Okay. This is probably going to be our last heat on this circle for now, or this ring. We'll probably take a look at it again on Friday before we weld it on. But I think we're going to be doing all right. Let's see if I can't pull this out of here without sticking my whole head in there. All the way in the back. Come on. There we go. Okay. Trying to round it out as much as we possibly can. And I think we're doing pretty darn good. So I think that's where we're going to leave it for now, at least until Friday. And so I'm going to cool this off. Nice and cool. Well, I guess it's not nice and cool, but it is comfortable enough to touch. And that's all it needs to be. Okay, we're going to turn off the big forge for the moment. And the next thing I'm going to do is kind of take a look at our pieces, see if I can't stick them in the circle. Ooh, I dropped our 0 and my tongs. Okay. U, S, A, $250. Okay. Looks like there's a little bit of a bend here. Let me kind of show you guys what I got going on. Let me actually do this first. Let's see if I can't. There we go. That'll be a little bit easier for you guys to see. If I do that. This may be a dumb question, but I've always wondered why the tools you work with don't melt or get soft in the forge or while you work with your piece. So we've got USA 250 and we're going to weld those all together. And when I pick this up after it's all welded together, it will say USA 250, the correct direction. Right now it's backwards. We've got a little bit of a rock here, so I will have to fix that up just a hair. But probably not until after I weld the two of these together. So we'll kind of fix that a little bit on Friday. But yeah. Okay, so to answer your question, because it is a great question, so there is a lot of heat transfer when I'm using tools on hot steel, right? However, like for hammers and the anvils, there's the material is so much smaller than the tools that I'm using that the hammer and the anvil can't pick up enough of the heat to get high enough temperature to like really melt or reduce the hardness of them. Now, that's not the same as like my tongs, right? When I am using my tongs to pick things out of the forge, if I leave them in there long enough, they will start getting hot, right? And if I leave my tongs long enough in a coal forge, I could melt them. Now, this is a gas forge, and it does not have the right oxygen to propane mix to tip the steel to its melting point, but the coal forge does. So it's kind of, because I talk a lot, I use the propane, so I never have to worry about melting my steel. But occasionally I will use my coal forge, and I do have to worry about melting my tools. Does that answer your question, or should I go a little bit more in depth? We are going to swap the forges again from the big one to the little one because we are going to go and start working on the handle. That's why you no longer have any heat feeling in your hands. Yes, because there is some heat transfer between the steel, the forge, and my tools. So I tend to burn myself a lot, and I have a lot less heat sensation, especially in the tips of my fingers. One of the most dangerous things in a blacksmith shop is actually black steel. Because you never know, if it's mystery steel, you never know if it's hot or not. Woo! The regulator is wet. Oh, that's great. So the regulator is wet because the amount of pressure being released from the propane tank is creating or is making the propane tank and the regulator cold. And the heat creates condensation, just like the condensation on my Gatorade. Oh, that's going to be fun. No, Ray, you know very well everything in blacksmithing shop is hot, right? It makes people like us do weird things. All right, I need to let my shop air out just a little bit because I accidentally turned the gas on. Or wait, no, I'm an idiot. I don't know. I'm all right. We're good. We're good. I thought I left it on when I took the other regulator off. It's just that I turned it on and I forgot I turned it on because, yeah, short-term memory. We're good. Yeah, I was thinking more about the tongs that actually go into the fire, so they can melt. I always wondered while watching Forged in Fire. Most of the forges in Forged in Fire are propane, and they deliberately use propane so that they won't tip to that melting point. It also reduces the chances of decarburization for the high carbon steels. If you leave high carbon steel in a coal forge too long, and even in a propane forge as well, less so in the propane forge, it will start burning off the carbon that's in the steel. Woohoo! First time! That's saying something today. I think it took me like 6 times to try and light the big forge this morning or this afternoon. All right, so we're gonna heat up our big pieces of steel. All right, we're gonna take all of our pieces. Ew. It was wet, so it picked up all of the scale on the face of the anvil. All right, so we have a handful of letters and numbers, and we got a circle. We're gonna take all these and we're gonna put them to the side for the moment. We'll probably bring out that circle again because I'm gonna wanna curve our edges to the curve of the circle. Look at that, guys. I'm out of Gatorade already. Goodness gracious. That's all right. I have another one. Give me just a minute. I will be right back. I need to make sure that I stay hydrated. Sweating a lot today. All right, more Gatorade. So Friday we're going to have, or the butler will be home from work because they get Friday and Monday off. So I am thinking that if we finish this project on Friday, like we should, because I'm making good time, that we will do a little bit more forge weld practice on Monday. I've already asked, and the butler's like, sure, I can help you. So we're gonna get a little bit more forge welding practice. I haven't decided on a good project yet. You know, something to forge weld. Last time we did the chain links, we forge welded 3 links together, or 2 links and almost 3. So I have to come up with a good project for our next forge weld attempt. So if any of you guys have any ideas, I mean, we could totally do like maybe a fire poker or something like that. Or we could try and do a longhorn hook. We could probably try some of those. But yeah, I think those might be good ideas. But I'd like to try and do maybe some drop tong forge welds. Those are a little bit more difficult, and I think they're a little. But if we do that, I'll have to. I think we're not going to do that, right? And the reason that we're not going to do drop tong welds is because they're going to be super hard to do with my anvil here. I do have another anvil, but that anvil has a surface rust coat on it. So I will see about cleaning that up for a future stream, and then we can do drop tong welds. I have a broken off plate on my anvil, and it makes doing certain tasks rather difficult. Some other tasks make the broken section make it a little bit easier to do, but in this case, a drop tong weld would be rather difficult to do because I can't get 2 flat surfaces on the top of my anvil to weld them together. It's getting really hot. So we may not be able to finish our sides today. And if we can't get our sides the way I want them done, we might just cut them out of the plate on Friday, depending on what we're up to, depending on how much of this we get done. If I can get one side done, we'll probably do the forged sides. If I can't get this one all the way done, we'll probably do the cutting. But there's a point at which I cannot drink enough liquid to offset what I'm sweating out. Alrighty. Let's see, what other interesting things are going on in Ray's Smithy world? Oh, so I did the news roundup today and I posted it up on YouTube. And the reason that I picked the specific blacksmithing organizations that I did is each one we have actually gone to visit them or those particular groups. We went to their conferences. So we went to BAM. So I looked at BAM. We do IBA. We did SOFA, which is Quad State. We did AACB, which is the the Appalachian Area Blacksmith Chapter. We did Abana because in the fall we're going to be going to the Abana conference, and then this week, then like next fall, we will be going to the Metals Museum, but I didn't see any information or any events that were happening at the Metals Museum in July. However, there is one thing that I learned after I posted that video. So the Metals Museum has opened their sign-up sheet for classes in Memphis, Tennessee. So you can learn how to blacksmith, how to weld, how to do jewelry. They do classes, and so registration has opened for classes at the Memphis Metals Museum. They will also be opening their new campus in September, so we'll have to feature that when we get there. So I'm super excited about that. How much more of the spring steel do I have? I have a lot, actually. More than I thought I would have at this point. Let me show you, kind of. I've got a pretty decent amount. So we've got these guys, and then we also have another coil of this style. This is a little bit thinner than this stuff, so we should be able to do some stuff with that in the near future. Do you have a project in mind that we might want to be using spring steel for? I am always open for project suggestions. Nope, just curious. Okay. So we have an ad starting in about a minute. And once that ad is over, we will start forging or widening out the base of our first side for our handle. But yeah. So I wish I would have been able to highlight the classes or the registration for the classes opening in my video. Unfortunately, I didn't know until after I had uploaded it. All right. We got our ad break. I'm gonna hang out over here. This is where the fan is directly blowing. So we had a lot of conferences going on in the spring, and we have a lot of conferences that we're going to be attending in the fall. And I'm pretty sure that the reason that we're not attending any conference, or that there aren't any conferences in the summer, is totally because it's so hot. Nobody wants to go to a forging conference and watch demos when it's this hot. Man, guys, all day today, for whatever reason, I thought it was Friday. It's so not Friday. It's only Wednesday. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, let's do our first heat. Let me check my camera angle. Okay, I think we'll be all right. Put that there. Okay. We're a little bit off kilter here, so I want to correct that. But I still want to widen this out, so I don't want to correct it too far. I don't want to forge it too far this direction. So the next thing that we're going to do is going to heat this back up. We're going to swap hammers. We're going from a rounding hammer that allows me to spread material all the way around my piece to a cross peen hammer, which specializes in one directional stretching of material. Change tongs as well. Alrighty. A little bit longer and we'll have enough heat. Let me move the camera angle just a hair. So I'm going to widen out the base so we have a good handle, and it's going to give a good amount of leverage for our piece. I may have actually made it a little bit too long, so we'll kind of take a look at it before we start working on the top section. The section that holds the handle part itself. All right, let's do our next heat. Put that there. So when we are widening out a piece of steel, the reason that we always start from that center is because it prevents us from crisping up those edges. If we crisp them up, make them too thin too quickly, they'll start cracking as we start widening out the rest of the piece. So always start in the middle, give ourselves a little bit of an hourglass shape in that profile, and then from there you can start widening those edges further. Works great for leaves. All right, I'm thinking a couple more heats and I'll probably have to pack up. It's getting real hot. So we will probably rate off at the hour-and-a-half mark so I can cool off. It has been awesome hanging out with you guys for the amount of time that we've been able to be out here. So I am super glad that I came out here and was able to, say hi at the very least. We made a little bit of progress. We should be able to finish this piece on Friday's stream. I may actually end up, depending on how wide we can get this in this next couple of heats, we might just cut the edges out of this piece of plate right here. I brought this out so that we could cut some stars out, and I still want to do that, but we might cut the edges out too, or like the sides out too. Need to get this project done by Friday so that I get to use it on Saturday. This stream is brought to you by the letters US and A and the number 250. Very much so. Very much so. And we got them all done. And we got our circle done too. It's not a perfect circle. Like there's a little bit of a crimp right here. But overall, it's not too bad. I think it's a decent circle. It's a pretty big burger though, you know? That's a pretty big burger patty. Whoops. Dropping letters. So Friday's stream will be primarily welding, maybe a little bit of forging in the beginning. Now we need a cookie. Oh, cookies are awesome. I could use a cookie. That's why I joined the dark side, you know. They said that they had cookies. A decent circle will be my A perfect circle cover band. That would be awesome. We're getting a decent amount of width there. A little bit more though, I think. We'll probably work a little bit on those edges. I kind of want to keep the center, like the skinniest part, around the same width as the rest of our letters and stuff, so that it'll sit nicely along the edge of the circle. So I think we're doing pretty well. Just need to flatten that out. We've got an hourglass or a C shape now. We want to kind of keep the width or make the width even is what I'm trying to say. Once we get that done, I'll probably write off. Man, I'm sorry. I'm not, I don't know why I'm apologizing. I have not gotten to the point of heat exhaustion yet, but I'm starting to get there. So we're gonna do one more heat and then we'll write off. That way I can cool off, get some more liquid in me, and, you know, feel like a normal person again. It's gonna be like this most of the summer. So I think I'll probably see about maybe getting another fan or something. We might actually spend a little bit of time in the jewelry shop this summer as well. My jewelry shop is completely air conditioned, so we should be good there. We might do some jewelry stuff. I know I don't want to like completely hone in on Kiri's territory, but you know, it's still pretty fun. I'll try and do some more silversmithy stuff. Alrighty. Let's do our last heat for the day. Alrighty. There we go. That's actually not too bad. We might actually, let's see. We might need to thin out the top a little bit on Friday's stream and make another side or another one of these guys. But that wasn't that bad. I think we're doing all right. So I think that's all she wrote for today. Getting super hot. So thank you so much for joining me today. Sorry it's such a short stream. Well, yeah, thank you guys so much. Let's see. Have a good evening and stay cool. Thanks, Ray. Take it easy. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for the stream. Yeah. All right, we are going to raid off to Kiri. I will do my best to stay cool, guys. I will do my best. SoCal Sweetie 85, thank you so much for joining me today. Alrighty. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you Friday. Bye! too hot. Too hot. That's a pretty nice looking side though.